Hey you guys, it's Peter, and I'm back. Of course I'm back. I'm not going anywhere. Peace. Peekaboo, I see you because I'm you. I actually just saw it go out of focus. I very rarely see it go out of focus, and I am the editor of the world. I'm YouTube famous now. Available Christmas of 2022. Ah, damn it, Janet. The album, Dad. Dad and the Fan Fuzzies. Oh my God, if I ever had a backup singers, those would be my backup singers. The Fan Fuzzies. The album, Dad and the Fan Fuzzies singing Christmas. Jingle bell, jingle bell, jingle bell rocks. Jingle bells. Okay, let me tell you what just happened. This is going to be, this is actually a very serious video, but the start of this is going to be actually really silly. So, I was sitting here and I was like trying to think of a song to sing, like a Christmas song. And so I was sitting here very seriously and I was thinking about that movie, Falling for Christmas with Lindsay Lohan. Y'all watch it on Netflix. I did a review of it on my review channel. So anyway, but in the movie, she pays homage to the Mean Girls and she sings Jingle Bell Rocks. Jingle Bells Rock, whatever the song is called. I don't know. I just know the song, okay? So anyway, I was sitting here and I was like, Jingle Bells, Jingle Bells. And my husband starts laughing upstairs, right? And I go, what are you laughing at? And he goes, you whispering that song under your breath. Welcome to the world of the drama commentary channels east of the Mississippi, Indiana. Okay. So today, we're going to talk about Nikita Dragun. Some stuff came out, and it's putting her right in the middle of some kind of very serious commentary, and I'm actually surprised that more people aren't talking about it. So I want to talk about that, but did you guys have a nice day yesterday? Did you have a nice day with your families and everything if you got to spend time with your families? We did. We got to spend time with both of our families, with my in-laws and my mother-in-law. And my brother and sister-in-law and the kids. And then we went over to my cousin's house and we had just such a great time. And, you know, I did this rant video the other day and so many people were like, you were so mean to your cousin Caroline on this rant video. And so I showed it to her yesterday and she got such a kick out of it. She thought it was hilarious. But anyway, it was so funny because in that video, I said how much I hate green bean casserole. And at both my mother-in-law's and at my cousin's house, my favorite thing was the green bean casserole. And what was so fantastic was that at both houses, they had specific vegetarian meals just for me, which I thought was so nice. Yeah, we had such a good time. Such a fantastic, great time. And then I came home, fell asleep, couldn't sleep, ended up getting up. I watched the season finale of RuPaul's Drag Race UK. I have to tell you, okay, and I'm not going to say who, I'm very happy with who the winner was. It was down to two people, and I was like, if either one of them wins, I'm, like, absolutely living for it. But the person that won, I, like, really, really liked, and just as, like, a person, I liked the top two. I liked them both a lot. And I really think they both kind of, I don't know, I feel like the person that didn't win kind of maybe deserved to win a little bit more, but I was so happy with the finale. I thought the finale was great. And if you haven't watched this season of RuPaul's Drag Race UK, it's unbelievable. So now I have to start watching RuPaul's Drag Race Canada versus the world. I think they have so many of these franchises out now. It's like unbelievable, isn't it? I remember watching the very first season of RuPaul's Drag Race with the bad lighting and everything. So, all right, let's get into talking about Nikita Dragun. So, if you've been keeping up with my videos or other people talking about this, you know that Nikita Dragun was in Miami and she was arrested for being naked around a pool. And then when they came, because there was like a noise disturbance and things like that, to her hotel room, she like slammed the door in the police officer and security's face, and then she threw water on them and things like that, okay? So she was arrested, and there was a lot of conversation, tons on social media. I mean, people basically demanding that she be moved because she was supposedly housed on a men's unit, okay, and that she be moved from a men's unit to a women's unit, okay, which is the law. So there was all of this social media discussion about it. I mean, literally when I got on like Twitter and social media, it was like, this is horrific that she's being housed in a men's unit and things like that, right? Okay. So my last video that I did talking about this, and I also talked about the Colorado shooting in there, which we're going to talk about today a little bit in the video. I have to tell you, one of the things that kind of makes me sad is seeing that there aren't a lot of people that are talking about this Colorado shooting. And I have to tell you that one of the coolest things for me in just living to this point in my life is seeing people step forward and telling their stories. And if you don't know the story of what happened, there was an Army veteran that was there, a 15-year served Army veteran that had done 2 stints, and he was sitting there with his wife and his daughter to see a drag show because his daughter's friend from high school was one of the performers. And so when he heard the shooting, he kind of went into combat mode. And he is what they're saying is like the hero of the whole situation. He's the one that took down the shooter. And when asked why he did this, he said something to the effect of, and it just really, really moved me into tears when I read this. He said something to the effect of, this is why I served my country, was so that people could live their lives the way that they wanted to live it in freedom, you know? And I was so moved by that. And just to see the interviews now of him and to see these people that work together in this situation, you know, take down the shooter, and even though people lost their lives and a lot of people were injured, and that is horrifically tragic. It could have been so much worse had he not stepped in, and he's truly, truly a hero. And you know, I know he doesn't know me and he could care less who I am, but as part of the LGBTQ community, I just want to say thank you. I appreciate your service, and I also appreciate you stepping up, because he didn't have to, you know? So that to me is phenomenal, to see somebody like that, you know, as a hero. I think this is a time that we have to start talking about these things, right? So, okay, so I talked about that in my video that I did the other day. But when I was talking about this Nikita Dragun situation and her being housed in this men's unit, you know, one of the things is that I cited a lot of statistics, okay, in that video. And I cited statistics of trans people being housed in inappropriate housing in jails and prisons and institutions, okay? And there's laws based around that, right? And then I also talked about them being sexually and physically abused and harmed as a result of being put in inappropriate housing, right? And then I talked about how many trans people are like killed every year by violence and violent acts. And you know, what was interesting to me on the heels of doing that video was how many comments I got from people. It was pretty much an overwhelming amount of comments that I got that people said, Miami-Dade County came out with a statement, Nikita was never held in a men's jail. That never happened, okay? And they kind of disputed her comment of being held in a men's jail, but never addressed the fact of the 4,500 people every year that are held in inappropriate jails and institutions. And one of the things that I said in my video is, just because this is Nikita Dragun and she is a public persona, this is just one person's story. What about the other 4,500 people, you know? Like, it's always interesting to me when some kind of celebrity goes through something, whether it's an addiction story or a mental health story, or whether it's a story of some kind of violence or something like that, right? And there's all this attention that's paid on it. And it's like, you know, that's really horrible and it's really sad. And I hope that we learn this as a teaching lesson and whatever. As days go by and I see what's going on with Nikita, I'm fearful that that's not going to be the case. I'm fearful that Nikita isn't going to use this as maybe a teaching moment, as I had hoped that she would. But, you know, with a lot of people, we see this with all kinds of celebrities, right? And it's like, but let's not forget the other, you know, 20 million addicts that are living in the world. Let's not forget the other, you know, 100,000 people that were affected by, you know, domestic violence cases just today. And, you know, I'm just using these as examples, but it's like, just because this happened to somebody that was in the public eye, it's not just about them. What about all of the other people's stories that will never be told, you know? And so in reading the comments of all these people that were like, Nikita wasn't held in the men's jail, Nikita wasn't held in the men's jail, you know, over and over and over again, I was almost kind of like, did you miss the point? Okay, like, that's fine, right? That you're disputing the story. Miami-Dade County came out and said something else, and of course Miami-Dade County, a jail would never lie. We've never known a jail to lie or say something didn't happen, right? But what about the other 4,500 people that this has happened to? And we do have factual evidence of that, right? And have heard their stories. The other thing is, I actually went in and I did a little bit of research because I wanted to find out exactly what had happened. And so I looked up to see what had happened with Nikita and the booking, and it says, officials with the Miami-Dade Corrections and Rehabilitation Department are disputing allegations that beauty influencer Nikita Dragun, a transgender woman arrested in Miami Beach earlier this week, was placed in a men's unit jail. And this is from Local 10 News. Officials dispute accounts say transgender influencer Nikita Dragun was never in a men's jail. So you can go look this article up as well. Dragun, 26, who has millions of followers on YouTube and various social platforms, was accused of creating a disturbance at a South Beach hotel, walking around its pool naked, and then throwing water on a police officer Monday. And then it goes on. She appeared in Miami-Dade Bond County Court Tuesday, where she asked Judge Mindy Glazer if she could be moved out of a men's facility, okay? But MDCR spokesperson Monn said Thursday the agency wanted to push back against Dragun's allegations, which were reported in multiple national publications and created a firestorm on social media. Dragun never made it beyond the booking process prior to release. Therefore, she was never placed in a men's unit. All inmates undergoing our intake process remain in an open seating, open booking area in the presence of correctional staff. Additionally, inmate Dragun was placed in a holding cell by herself due to her high-profile status before being released, and she was escorted by an LGBTQ officer during her time at the corrections facility. What's interesting about that, and I'm not denying it and saying that that's not true and that that didn't happen, what's interesting is there is video footage, and I found it on YouTube. Hold on just a second. It is called, and you can go look it up on NBC New York News. Nikita Dragun, arrested in Miami, asks judge if she has to stay in men's unit. And the whole thing is about, it's like 3 minutes long, and it's her talking to the judge about her bond being set. And I think the bond is set at something like $2,000. It's a really low bond, honestly. And her bond being set at like $2,000. And then she asks at the very end if she has to stay in the men's unit. What's interesting about this, okay, with Miami-Dade County coming out and saying this, is that the judge says, I'm not the one that sets the rules or something like that. Like, you'll have to ask the bail bondsman or call somebody to have that all arranged when you get back there. Like, I'm not the person that does that, right? So she doesn't say to her in that moment, well, you're in a holding cell. You're not in a men's unit. And so I think there's a lot of discussion over whether Nikita really was in a holding cell. Was she in a men's unit? Where was she being held at that time? But to me, as a 50-year-old gay man, okay, that has seen a lot of violence in this world, not just towards gay men or lesbians or bisexual people, but primarily in my life, I've seen it towards trans people, okay, and especially towards trans people of color. I want to make clear that this really needs to bring focus to the 4,500 people that are being held inappropriately in the wrong facilities across our country, and as a result of that are subject to, you know, physical and sexual abuse on the regular, that are being harmed by correctional staff and inmates, and on and on and on, okay? And we're seeing deaths as a result of that. And, you know, we can even just save one person's life. Like, that would be amazing, right? So I wanted to say that before I got into this video, which I'm now at 14 minutes. But let's talk about now what Nikita did next, okay? So I didn't really understand what was going on. Nikita came out with this statement, which she has now since deleted on her Instagram. She came out with this statement, and the statement says, this was a couple days ago, I want to thank everyone for the outpouring of love and support recently. I've always been open with you guys about my journey, and there is an appropriate time for that. But oftentimes, the best way to heal and grow is to do so privately. So I will be off social media for a while in order to take care of my mental health and overall well-being. I love you all, and we'll see you soon. And she has since deleted that and made a return to social media, okay? And has been posting all kinds of things. Today she is posting an Instagram of a baptism. Hold on a second. I'm going to go over to her Instagram. You can go over there as well, and I'm going to read to you. I think she posted she posted on her Instagram story, and then she also, it just says amen. And it's a baptism and things like that. You know, a lot of people are saying things about Nikita's mental health, and you know, that she had all these diagnoses about 6 months ago, and that she talked about that publicly and things like that. And of course, I feel, as somebody that you know is such an advocate for people with addiction and mental health issues and the poor treatment of mental health and addiction issues in our country, I really feel for anybody in that situation. I specifically feel really, really bad for people that don't have access to appropriate addiction and mental health treatment, right? But when you have millions and millions of dollars and there's access to treatment, like, for me, I sometimes get very confused by that, right? And I hope that Nikita is getting the help that she needs. A lot of people are saying that maybe this is, you know, as a result of that. I hope that she is getting the help that she needs. So that being said, I don't know that that is a reason for what other people are considering bad jokes. Nikita put out this picture on her Instagram story. Here, I'm going to put it up for you right here. And the picture is of Nikita, and she is sitting here, hold on a second, in a Trump 2024 hat, and it says The Revenge Tour, okay? And underneath there, she says, Happy Thanksgiving. She very, very quickly took this down. And when I tell you that the internet went crazy, okay, I mean, the internet went crazy. And you might be thinking to yourself, like, well, why do people really, really care? Like, why is that this big of an issue? Okay, I think it's no mystery to anybody. Like, I'm already knowing that I'm probably going to have to get rid of the Facebook. I mean, we're coming up on election years, you know. I'm going to have to get rid of the Facebook, because the Facebook's of the devil, especially during election years. And, you know, you have those friends on there that are like, if you don't agree with me, after they've had, like, too much to drink, they're like, if you don't agree with me, just unfriend me on Facebook. And I'm like, okay. I didn't realize the Facebook was that serious. But anyway. So, you know, I think we today especially live in a very polarizing political climate where so many people have, like I said, such polarizing opinions about things, as they should, you know, and that is one of our rights of freedom in the United States. And so, but it's interesting how it plays out. Now, when you talk about the younger generation and kind of where they stand, typically politically, I think to the left, it has affected other people. And Sydney Sweeney of the cast Euphoria, she had a birthday party, a 60th birthday party for her mother. I believe this was in August. And at the birthday party, her mother had on a Make America Great hat again. And it was supposed to be like a joke, apparently, in the hat. I don't know if you guys remember this story, but at the time, like, I have the story pulled up here. Hold on a second, because I wanted to make sure that I knew what I was talking about. At the time, oh, is that the one that I have pulled up? Hold on just a second. Here it is. The entire internet is freaking out at Sydney Sweeney because her mom wore what looked like a MAGA hat to her own surprise birthday party. So apparently it wasn't even that. Sydney Sweeney did a photo dump to honor her mom's birthday, but it's instantly backfiring because people think it's showing her true colors, ones they perceive as red, being Republican. The Euphoria actress threw up a bunch of shots Saturday on IG showing her and her family celebrating her mother Lisa's 60th birthday. They held the shindig at some sort of ranch, blah, blah, blah. Some relatively harmless, but some fans of hers are raising an eyebrow to the vibe they're putting off, especially when it comes to certain people's attires, shirts and hats especially. In one of the photos that Sydney posted, she's alongside 3 other adults, one of whom is her mother, the blonde woman, as well as what appears to be her grandmother, and an older gentleman, we're not exactly sure who he is. Okay, and it goes up and talks about all this kind of stuff. And other photos and videos show attendees wearing red MAGA-style hats with Make 60 Great Again, okay, emblazoned on the front. And so, you know, I think we're at the point where people can't even, like a joke written around the idea of make America great again isn't even funny to them, right? So for Nikita to post this on her Instagram and to think it was going to be funny, right, is unbelievable to me, right? And it was unbelievable to fans too. Whatever side you stand on, I'm just saying it was unbelievable to me that Nikita thought she was going to get a laugh off of this joke, okay? And let me read you the Twitter points that, hold on a second, because Twitter goes crazy on her. So she said, bro, it was a joke. And then somebody said, what happened? And then they post a picture. And then somebody said, a joke is supposed to be funny. Somebody said, as usual, you're not funny. Somebody said, jokes are supposed to be funny. Love stop chasing headlines constantly. Somebody said, what did she say? Posted a picture in a MAGA Trump hat. Somebody said, they're talking about clout chasing. Somebody said, girl, you know damn well that what was going to happen. Not funny, though. Somebody said in there it was funny. Somebody said, Nikita, and this is where there are a lot of trans people underneath here. Nikita, come over to the right side of her street. Don't be scared, sweet cakes. I guess this is a good way to have people talking about you again. Somebody said, you can tell this is a joke. Miss Mamas, you need to get your legal affairs in order instead of trolling on the internet. Didn't you say you was taking a break for your mental health? And it goes on and on and on, okay? And that was, she said, bro, it was a joke. And then she posts, you are a joke. And somebody said, I love you, Nikita Dragun. I protected you from haters there on Instagram. Go look at the, okay? And somebody said, literally unfollowed on everything, sis. Somebody, I mean, it goes on and on and on about how those people are like really offended by this joke. They don't think it's funny, right? Well, I think in talking about the shooting in Colorado Springs, one of the things that's important to note is the statement that came out about the shooter's father. And I don't know how many people know about this because it seems to not be being talked about a lot. But one of the things that came out, and I want to talk about this, is the statement that the shooter's father made, okay? And it says, here, this is from the New York Post. We don't do gay. Father of Colorado shooter Anderson Lee Aldrich goes on anti-gay rant in bizarre interview, okay? The father of Anderson Lee Aldrich, the suspect in a mass shooting at a Colorado nightclub, spewed anti-gay comments in a rambling, incoherent explanation of his relationship with his estranged son. The dad bizarrely claimed during an interview with CBS 8 San Diego that his first concern upon learning his son allegedly killed 5 at an LGBT establishment was whether his child was homosexual. I was scared. I was like, oh my God, SHI Tut, is he gay? And he's not gay, Aaron Brink, 48, said with an exaggerated sigh of relief. Brink, who lives in San Diego and has been estranged from Aldrich for years, said he doesn't support same-sex relationships. The former MMA fighter turned porn star told a Republican for the station, I'm a conservative Republican and we don't do gay. This statement is making the rounds, okay? I mean, it is like a meme that people are posting over and over and over and over again on Instagram. I find it really hard to believe it. And this is where, for me, a little bit, like, you know, and I want to make this clear. This is not just me, like, you know, get down from the cross, somebody needs the wood, or I'm going on and I'm preaching and things like that, right? I feel like this is where, when you have a platform, Miss America, but when you have a platform, that you should use it. At least post, at least retweet something about, okay, a horrific shooting that happened. And I try to keep up with this as much as possible. And the thing that's sad is, like, in the last week alone, there have been like 6 horrific shootings that have happened, right? I mean, like, how do you even keep up with that much violence and hate? It makes me sad. It breaks my heart. You know, but when you have a platform, and I've always believed this since day one on YouTube, go all the way back to my BookTube videos, right? I'm an addict and an alcoholic in recovery, you know, and I'm a person that believes in advocating for mental health and addiction treatment and recovery. I've talked about that since day one. I will talk about it till I am blind in the face because I am blessed enough to have people that watch my videos. And if I can just touch or help one person with telling my story, why wouldn't I do that? And the same thing in talking about LGBTQ issues, right? And the amount of people that have an LGBTQ platform, there are people that live in Colorado alone that I didn't see that they posted anything about it. I saw couples adopting children that are living in Colorado that had nothing to say about a horrific shooting in Colorado, right? I think we have to be aware, we have to be cognizant, you know? And so for Nikita, on the heels, just days after her being arrested and coming out and putting this out about being in a men's unit, and then there being all this discussion about it, and then this shooting that happened, and then this dad's statement, and all of these issues, of which there were so many trans people that were affected by this shooting as well, right? And that's important to talk about. That's a whole other video, right? I'm starting to think it's time for me to make a very serious sit-down video about my thoughts and my feelings about, you know, I talk in here about being a proud 50-year-old gay man. Maybe it's time for me to sit down and do a very serious video of what that's like and what I've been through and what I've seen, you know? It was interesting to me in watching the last 2 episodes of American Horror Story NYC, and the amount of people that were like, I can't believe that people lived that way. And I'm like, I remember people living that way. I remember people dying that way. You know, and I think to some degree, the violence that we're seeing today towards the LGBT community, and especially towards the trans community, you know, it's so sad, and it's a whole other wave of death and violence that we're seeing. And so we have to talk about it, and we have to use our platforms to share how we feel about this, you know? I don't know how I feel about this with Nikita Dragun. You know, I do think that it's interesting in the world that we live in today. I was just informed recently. I didn't know this. You know, I know people think that drama channels know everything. I didn't know this. I didn't know that you could look up publicly how somebody is registered to vote. I didn't know that. I thought that was really interesting, you know, and that's not something that I'm interested in finding out about. Something that I feel like, you know, unless they decide to come out publicly and talk about that, that's their business. So I won't be looking into that, but that was brought to my attention, and I thought that that was interesting, you know, and, but I think in this world that we live in of issues, and, you know, I think it's important that, I said this in my last video and I'll say it again, you know, whatever your story is, whatever you've gone through in your life, whatever political spectrum you stand on, okay, turn your wounds into wisdom. Make your life and your story matter. Help other people. Educate other people. Help your experience be a learning experience for somebody else, hopefully, just one person, and let them learn and grow from what you've gone through. You might just be affecting and touching and changing one person's life. I love you guys, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.